Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of For the Moms podcast. Today we're going to be talking about all things marriage.
Disclaimer, this episode is going to discuss the intimacy parts of marriage. So if you are a young listener, please be advised.
This podcast is brought to you by QNA Network.
I'm Kelsey.
I'm Jasmine.
I'm Valerie.
And I'm Ariel.
And we are For the Moms.
Starting out, let's talk about who makes all of the decisions. Financial decisions, decisions for the kids, and things like that. I'll go first. Pretty much, I make all of the decisions. Like if it's a higher price item, obviously Josh and I will talk about that. As far as paying the bills, he probably don't even know how to log into the banking account, if you want me to be honest. But I pay all of the bills. And then as far as the kids, I mean, like if it's something crazy, yes, I'll talk to him about it, get his opinion. But for the most part, I don't know.
Jasmine runs that house.
Yeah, I do.
No, that's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's me. Now, like I would say if it's something like over $1,000 or so, I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? But other than that, he kind of gets what he wants, and I kind of get what I want. Kelsey?
So I do not make no financial decisions. Don't give me no numbers. I'm not going to do nothing with it. It's going to go straight over my head. Josh makes all the financial decisions. I make all the decisions for the kids. Now, if it's something like we're about to buy a new couch. Now, of course, I'm like looking at the couches that are like $10,000, and he's like, absolutely not, Kelsey. But if it's things like that, we'll talk about it together or whatever. For the most part, he makes the financial decisions, like everything with that. Unless I'm like, hey, we're going on this vacation, but I'm booking it, so you don't really need permission. I'm just telling you. But for the kids, yeah, I do pretty much everything. He can brush hair. That's about it. So
I'm kind of like Jazz. I typically make all the financial decisions. As far as I pay the bills, he probably doesn't even know how much is in our bank account. He doesn't know the passwords to anything. But as far as like making a purchase for our land, a house, obviously, cars and things like that, we
the big stuff.
Yeah. Talk about it. And the kids, I mean, I do all the doctor's appointments.
Oh, yeah. I don't think men even know who to call.
But when it comes to sports and stuff like that, it's mainly having to consult with him because he does a lot of the practices and things like that. But that's
he coaches too, so he probably that's huge. Eric and I, it's both for us in our household. I think we do really well about balancing, and like it's a partnership. Like we literally talk about everything before we do it. Now, like groceries and like day-to-day stuff, we just spend. Like if he wants to go buy something, he buys it. If I want to go buy something, I buy it. But like large purchases, like when we were doing the house, any car purchases, when we built our pool, we're looking at doing a shop now. Like he is the numbers guy, and y'all know my husband. Like he. Frugal as hell, but I'm grateful for it because it set us up and put us in the position we are now in our life. But so he gets on with that, but like if I have a Botox appointment, I'll just say, hey, I have the appointment next week. I don't necessarily have to ask or anything. And same with him. If he wants something, he just goes and buys it. Now with the kids, we like to play the game, go ask your daddy, go ask your mama, if it's something I don't feel like answering, I'm like, just see what your daddy says and we'll deal with it later. And then I'll just back him up and vice versa.
I'm kind of the same.
We're the same
go
way.
ask your dad.
Yeah. See what he says first and then we'll talk about it.
They're like, well, I did ask dad, but he told me to come ask you. I'm like, go ask your dad.
Yeah, and then they come running back to us. That's definitely how it is for the most part for us. Especially if it's like something I don't want to get up and do right there.
Oh, same.
Or if it's like Ella saying, can I have a sleepover? And I'm like, really don't feel like it, but go ask your daddy. Okay, on to the next one. What has been one of the hardest parts of your marriage? Any eye-opening events? For me, I guess this would be years ago, but I guess learning how to trust more. I think just because I've dealt with like a lot of things in my personal life, like before Josh, trust has always been very hard for me. So definitely, I would say the biggest thing was learning trust. And then whenever Josh got COVID, that was probably like one of our big eye-opening events because, he was down for over 60 days and that was just like very eye-opening for us that like, life can be taken away so quick. So in that moment, like whenever all of that happened and, obviously after he got better, we were like, life is so short. Like we need to stop like, well, we need to do more. We need to, stop saying no, and we need to do more because we don't ever know when it's our last day. Obviously, save, be comfortable, and things like that. But life is short, and you can't bring it with you whenever you die. So as long as, you are comfortable, take the trip and make memories because you don't ever know when it's your time to go.
Memories last a lot longer than money does.
They do.
Yeah.
But for me, I would say, actually, Josh said this last night, but he said communicating when I'm angry. I usually shut down. Like, if he makes me mad or if we're, like, bickering or something, I just shut down. Like, I'm not going to talk about it. You pissed me off. I'm going in the room. Like, I'm done. I don't even want to talk. That's kind of our biggest part because then it just draws out the fight even longer. I would say that's, like, our, whatever the question was. In our marriage. But for eye-opening would be when Charlie was in the NICU, first-time parents, fresh in our marriage. I think that was like a big eye-opener for us because it was very unexpected. So that's it.
That would, just tune it in really quick before Val goes. That is a problem for me as well that I've really had to work on is shutting down. Josh is a very big communicator. I get to that in one of the next questions. He is a huge communicator. Not so much me. That's something I've definitely had to work on, and it's been rough. Yeah. But I'm getting better. Yeah. All right, Val.
We just had one episode. It was around COVID. This was probably around the time that Austin was born. I was staying home. I really wasn't into TikTok. I wasn't working. So Mark was our financial provider, and he was taking a weight loss medicine called phentermine. And with his job in the plants, he has to get random drug tests. Well, the drug test threw a flag for meth with his phentermine.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And even with the prescription, the DISA, I guess they would not accept it. They said that there wasn't enough studies to show that phentermine will throw off
for that.
Yes.
And has the same things as Vyvanse.
See, that's
and Adderall.
Crazy.
Yes.
So Eric takes phentermine and he's never had a positive drug screen.
So the fact that it flagged his account for 2 years, they wouldn't accept the prescription, and it made him look like he was not the person that he's saying that he is. I've been with him over 12 years, and he has never, ever touched a drug. Never. So the fact that it made it look like he did was very upsetting for him. And that's the lowest that I've seen him because that's probably the only time I've really seen him cry. Honestly, he's going to hate me for saying that. No, but it's true. It just made him not look like the person that he was. And it's
like that. When I used to work at Prime, we used to do drug screens and people would flag all the time. Then you have to send it off. And then sometimes like a medical review officer would like go verify your prescription or whatever. But it just depends. Like, if they take it from your hair, if they take it from your...
He had the prescription. The doctor even wrote a letter.
That's crazy.
And everything. It wasn't like an expired prescription. It wasn't nothing.
Mark. Yeah. Oh, that's horrible.
Bad. That happened to Josh, not in the plants though. This was like way before we had kids. He was going to work at FedEx and obviously had to do a drug test. It came back for meth. And Josh has never done a drug, like ever. And the only thing that we could link it back to was he was sick that prior week and he took Sudafed over the counter.
Sudafed will do that.
That's the only thing we could link it back to, and they were like, "No, absolutely not."
Crazy.
But Sudafed is how you make meth. Don't ask me how.
But yeah, that's happened. Thankfully, it wasn't like in the plants, and that didn't stay on his record because it was just for
it
one
does
job.
stay on your record.
It did for 2 years. It's not on there now, and I think there was only the DISA plants he couldn't go into for 2 years. But other than that,
that's still hard though because it limited what he was able to do.
And during COVID, it was even
harder.
Yeah, that's scary. So I'm not gonna lie. The first year, probably 2 years of Eric and I's marriage was like hard, very, very hard. We got married super quick. I got pregnant within 8 months of being married. And Eric was battling quite a few demons that I was not aware of going into our marriage. I'm not going to go into like detail of everything that happened, but he was also battling some depression. And that was really hard. We even had a joke, like we were both working full time and we'd come home on Friday nights and just kind of unload on each other. And you really should not do that. And we've gotten a lot better at it, 11 years in now. But we would call it Friday night fight night, like literally the first year and a half of our marriage. But I think what helped us is we both have very good examples of what a happy and healthy marriage should look like. Like Eric's parents are both in their 60s. They've been married since they were 18 years old. My great aunt and uncle that raised me are in their 80s. They've been married for over 50 years. So we had the good examples and help to fall back on that not everybody has. And I'm very thankful for it because we may not be together today had we not had that. And then we both always believed in the covenant of marriage. Like we made those vows before God, before our families, and we take it very seriously. Like we're only getting married once in our life. So through hell or hard water, like we were like, we're going to fix this. We're going to work this out. And he did. And it's going to make me cry. But I remember sitting on the couch when we were at like rock bottom, like financially, everything. We had pretty much didn't have anything. And we had, Cadence was a small baby. And he said, I promise you, I'm going to give you the life that you have always dreamed of and you deserve. And then 11 years later, here we are. So just don't give up, y'all, because it's possible.
A lot of people give up.
Yeah.
They really do. And I hate that about
Yeah.
life
But you
now.
both have to want it. You do. It can't be one-sided. And we both did want it. And like at the end of the day, we knew we loved each other. And I think we had that strong foundation. So we were able to come back. And I'm just grateful for that. But it was hard, y'all.
Well, that's awesome.
I don't think any of our friends thought we were going to last.
Good for y'all.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, what would you have changed sooner if you've changed anything?
Saving money.
Hi, Kelsey.
Mom's saving money too.
I said when I first met, I should have acted broke. Okay, really?
I mean, that could go for us. Definitely, maybe saving sooner than what we did.
That's what I mean. Because I feel like I'm very good at saving money now.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But when you have more money, it's easier to save.
that's true
Those
too.
first few years,
That's
like
true.
most of us are broke when we get with our spouse. Like you don't have anything to save.
I feel like unless you came from a lot or, most people struggle. Josh and I have struggled, for a few years we struggled until, we were finally he was able to get a better paying job. And now that I make money, but I feel like majority of people go through that at some point.
Oh, for
especially
sure.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
When you're young.
Yeah,
and
like I said,
you don't really know how to manage anything. You've never
unless
done
you
it.
were like just gifted it or, you were born
unless you're a
it.
trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like most people struggle. So save,
Yeah.
but still live your life.
We didn't pay our house note to help pay for our wedding because we paid for our wedding. Well, Mark's parents helped pay a lot of our wedding, but we were missing a house note
Eric
so we can
paid
pay
1 month
some of our wedding.
our mortgage when we lived in the old house in Hammond on the credit card because like we had nothing. Like he put that shit on the credit card.
Say, when I met Josh had already been traveling in the plant, so he had been traveling for like 10 years at that point because Josh is the oldest. So, but so it was like. I went straight into that, and so he was making plant money, working 7-12.
Oh, you had the good
travel
money.
per
That's why you
diem.
married him,
So
Kelsey.
That's why he said I should have acted like I was broke. Because he was like, I shouldn't have bought you all them gifts and all them trips and everything before we had kids. But it wasn't even like that. Like it wasn't even like that. We
Got you a sugar daddy.
I moved in fairly quickly, so I was trying to get out of my mom's house.
It was complete opposites for me and Josh. Josh had nothing whenever we got together. And I mean, I didn't either.
Yeah.
But we struggled for a while.
Yeah. So like I was the saver when Eric and I first met. He had like nothing. He was shit with money. Go figure, he was an accountant, but he was shit with his own money, good at managing other people's money. But that was a learning curve. And then we went through all the shit we went through. And it's definitely gotten better, but Lord.
I was a single mama, so when I met Mark, he was paying off all my credit cards.
Oh, that's why you like him. This is nice.
He did. He didn't do it initially, but it was nice when he
just to have the help.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that
just
relief.
Taking off some of that debt was just nice.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you recommend doing in a marriage to keep it healthy? What's one piece of advice you'd give to a newlywed? So for me, I would say just taking time for you and your partner. Date your partner. That's very important. Josh and I had to learn that. I feel like Josh and I went through a little patch. I want to say it was just whenever we had Ella. I truly felt like we were just roommates. But, obviously we got over that. It's definitely important to date your partner. Take time out, even if you don't have much help. we traveled on the road for years and we didn't really have anybody while we were away to help us. Even if it's putting the kid to bed, or putting your kids to bed and watching a movie, or, you know, find something to where you and your partner have time by yourselves. I feel like that's very, very important. And then make sure your partner has good communication. You know, if you're newlywed, definitely before you get married, make sure communication is key at the end of the day. Josh is very, very well, like much better than me with communicating. I had to learn that part of it. But I feel like in a marriage, communication is key. Find somebody that communicates good.
And I'm going off of Jasmine's about the date your partner, because that's exactly what, especially, it's hard when you have kids. I will say it's very hard when you have kids, especially when they're babies and, you know, you're trying to figure out motherhood as well. You get yourself in that little rut where it's like roommate season. And we have been there before too. But like, it's easy. Just do something at home. Put the kids to sleep. If you know they're asleep and they're safe in their bed, go do whatever. It doesn't matter. If you got to go lock your door for 10 minutes, hang out, you know, get a little quickie, whatever you got to do, do it. That's like the biggest part. You can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
If you are a Patreon member, VIP, you can watch our full video.
And don't forget to check out our merch at fourthemoms.com.